I had to fix my mindset, right? I had to realize that I was probably the worst pro in the world. And once I figured that out, then I had to make goals that actually made sense. Because the goals I was making were not making any sense. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna beat this dude. This dude's been playing since 3, bro. You're not beating him.
It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
You know, and I always say this all the time. It's really hard to punch someone in the face when they're being extra nice to you. It's so difficult. I mean, some people can do it, but that takes a different kind of person to do that. I can't do that because, like I told you before, even when I was doing my gang stuff, I still had, humanity in me, right? So,
little compassion.
Well, how long did it take? How long did it take for you to do this?
It took me the first maybe like a month, maybe a month and a half of just like, listening to these kids because everyone was so nice. And then, like I said, just like back in the house, something comes to me and it says, hey, why are you upset? Why are you angry? You're not in your abusive home anymore. You're so far from it. You're not even in the same country. Why are you angry? Here, you're with people who actually like you, and they like you not because they can, not because of what you can do for them, not because you can pick up your gun for them, but they like you because
unconditional.
they like you. Yeah. And so once I was able to figure that out, then I started to let down the guard a little bit, became a little more friendly.
Did you appreciate their friendliness after a while?
Yeah, because it was just like, I don't know if the word is wholesome, but
genuine.
It's very genuine. And it was like,
coming from your upbringing, you probably didn't have too many people that were nice and showed you attention,
right?
Like you said, because you're Wally Green.
Right. And
they didn't know you, no preconceived notions, and just looked at you as the person that you were.
Right. And I never had to ever think of, oh, what am I going to have to do for this person? Like, I never had to ever think of that. Whereas when I was doing my gang thing, that's always in your mind, all right, I know I got to do something.
Got to owe this guy a favor.
Yeah. But there it was just like, I don't have to do anything. Just be me. And people are just nice. And yeah, so that was the first change in my mindset, which actually set me up to be a nicer person.
That's amazing because it probably gave you, after a while, when you finally dropped your guard, to give you the appreciation, because you can only appreciate things when you know the other side.
Yeah.
You can only appreciate good things in life when you know the suffering. And not to give us a shameless plug, but you're on the Suffering Podcast, so I'm going to do it. That's what we preach on here all the time. You have to look at the back. You have to know what the back of the page is in order to appreciate the front. And that sounds like what you did. Now, how did this become a profession for you?
Yeah, so I got really good at ping pong, and I came back to America, and a big break came. I was starting playing tournaments, a lot of tournaments in the U.S., and there was one tournament. It wasn't even like a ranked tournament. It was just like some put together tournament that was put together in Chinatown, and I went there, and some kid was visiting from China, and we got to play against each other. So as we were playing the match, the kid was really loud, and he was going, yo, and then I started getting pissed off. So
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. And then, because like I say, even though my mindset was changed, I was still hood. And I was like, this dude, bro, all right, we're going to play this game. So then I would make a point. I'll go, that's it, boy, send him back. And I'll just start talking mad trash. And we were going back and forth, me and this kid. And after the match, Rockstar Games, actually, if you guys know Rockstar Games, they make Grand Theft Auto. Sure. They happened to be there scouting. And they came up to me and says, hey, do you know Rockstar Games? Like, hell yeah, Grand Theft Auto, man. I play that all the time. I love it. And they were like, before they even finished the sentence of we're gonna make, I was like, yes, yeah, for sure, let's do it. So they wanted to make the world's first real ping pong game called Rockstar Presents Table Tennis. So I was like, hell yeah, I got on it. I did like 90% of the motion capture, and then and like I said, I was always smart. So when I said yes with some intention because I like ping pong a lot and I wanted to be a pro. And the only way I could be a pro is if I had money to do it, right? Because to travel around the world is no chance if you don't have any money. And so I did this game with them. The game beat every sports game, actually. Madden, NBA Live, all of them for best sports game. It was the most talked about sports game of the year because Rockstar doesn't make any games that weren't violent.
Yeah.
And here they're making a ping pong game.
game.
People are like, what? There's no way. So I made this game with them, did a lot of promotions for it in Japan and around the places. And then I said, hey, I want to play pro. I want to play on the pro tour for USA. Would you guys sponsor me? And the answer was like, yes, immediately. Because sponsoring me would also get the game around the world, right? So I was like, all right. So they were like, well, you need to come up with a budget. And I was like, what's that? I didn't even know what a budget was. I didn't know it.
I'm used to $20 from Alex.
Yeah,
just to play with him.
exactly. I had no idea, but I
But you've made things
researched
work
it.
throughout your life.
Yeah.
And this just sounds like another thing that you just made work.
Yeah. I put together a budget and they agreed and they sponsored me. And I traveled the entire world just playing ping pong. And I sucked, and I still traveled the entire world playing ping pong.
I seriously doubt you sucked.
I did.
You don't get approached by Rockstar Games.
Yeah.
and
I mean, I was
suck.
good, but I wasn't. I definitely was not. When I first started, I was definitely not the level of the top players in the world. But I mean, and I also had a really bad mindset that I had to change because, like I said, I was like a superstar athlete. And everything I did, like when I was in school, I was MVP for volleyball, basketball. Anything I ever played or touched, I was the best. And I thought for sure I'm going to beat ping pong. Of course I'm going to be the best. But
Best ping pong player ever.
I
was
sort of
so far.
understand gravitation towards what some would consider an odd professional sport.
Yeah.
In college, I had to take a gym. And I'm looking through them, and I take badminton. All right, I take badminton, and all of my friends. I played football. All my friends are making fun of me. Like, you're playing. Well, there was about a group of 5 of us that could really play.
Right.
It was the most fun I've ever had. Most of the people are off in the corner doing their thing, but there was 5 of us who really, really played, and it was so much fun. It was a dynamite experience, and I don't look back on it at all.
Right.
So how do you go further? How do you're on the pro tour?
Now, are you winning these tournaments?
Hell no. I'm getting destroyed.
Or are you at
bro.
least placing and getting money out of them?
Hell no. I'm getting
But it
destroyed.
doesn't matter. You got to
Doesn't
back
matter.
her.
See, so what happened with me is I had to fix my mindset, right? I had to realize that I was probably the worst pro in the world. And once I figured that out, then I had to make goals that actually made sense. Because the goals I was making were not making any sense. I was like, yeah, I'm going to beat this dude. This dude's been playing since 3, bro. You're not beating him. So I started making goals that made sense. So the first goal I made was I got to get 5 points. If I can get 5 points in one game out of 4, I'm the champion. And I made myself believe this. So I would go and I would just play for 5 points. 5 points it. And I would get 5 points and I would go, yeah. And I would make this noise and people would be like, what's wrong with this dude? He just lost. But no one understood that. No one understood what I was doing. And the whole point was just to make goals that actually make sense and then celebrate the goals. So me jumping up and down was a celebration of making those small goals. So that's how I started getting better. I started going from 5 points, 1 game, to 5 points every game, to 1 game, to 2 games, 3 games, to a match. And that was the only way that I could get better. And that's how I started getting better. But people were just making fun of me.
What was your top accomplishment as a pro ping pong player?
Oh, man. I think I won a lot of tournaments, stuff in America, like a lot of rating events. But I think my best accomplishment on the table didn't come as a pro. Well, I was a pro, but it didn't come on the pro circuit. It actually came in just a normal American tournament where I was playing this kid who was actually not even as good as I am, but he was really fast and just everything was just so quick. And I was very slow behind him. And the kid, and he was also, I think, was maybe 200 rating points lower than me, so similar to chess. And he was beating me 2-0, 9-6. And the games go to 11. So 2-0, 9-6. I had no chance. And then I remember that I sat down, I thought about what I was doing, and I said, what can I do different? How can I win this? What can I do different? And then I say, you know what? I'm gonna slow this game down. I'm gonna play as slow, as humanly slow as possible, right? Because the cue was boom, 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 so fast. And so what I would do is I would take extra time when I would serve. I would look at him, I'd bounce the ball on the table, look at him again. And when I would serve, I would serve in a slower motion. And I wind up winning that match. And I think when people ask that, I think that is the biggest accomplishment.
Getting
right?
in his head and taking him out of his game.
Yes. And just being able to adjust and
You adjusted,
yeah.
but you've adjusted throughout your whole life.
Yes.
You've had
Yes.
to.
And did you ever get a sponsorship deal for Flexolite ping pong paddles?
Oh.
All right, but that's what Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
that
I
was
know,
his.
right? Yeah.
That was his thing.
My table tennis sponsor is a company called Yola. It's Joola, and they sponsored me for a long. It's been a long time. They sponsored me, and they're a really good company, really good group of people. Yeah, so that's my table tennis sponsor. It's called Yola.
But it's one game that everybody has played.
Has played, yeah. Without doubt.
Everybody has played. And we were talking a little bit before the show how everybody's played cornhole. But you watch cornhole on ESPN, the Ocho.
It's different.
It's different. It's the same thing with ping pong,
Yeah.
but it's a relatable game. You know, it's like bowling. Everybody's going bowling, but you watch the guys on the pro bowling tour. It's a lot different.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but you've taken it to the next level. Are you still actively in tournaments?
No. Now I just kind of
You're officially retired.
retired. But I mean, I play mostly for fun, and I play pro paddle tennis. So that's my other sport is paddle tennis. So I play pro paddle tennis. But
Surprised you didn't pick up that pickleball.
nah, it's not gonna happen.
Well, you said that about ping pong.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
is true, right?
You said that
No,
about
but
ping
this-
pong.
You know,
This is-
next year when he comes on, he's
No,
gonna be telling us
no,
about
no.
Wally
that's-
Green, the pro
No,
pickleballer.
it's not. It's not. And it's crazy. I'm under a lot of pressure to play pickleball. A lot. I have a lot of people in my ear, in my DMs, because
Everybody says it's so much fun.
yeah, but for me, it's a bit slow and it's not fun for me. Like, you know, I play ping pong, which is super, super fast, super, you know, aggressive. Then I play paddle tennis, which is even more aggressive. Pickleball is just very slow.
It's for an older generation mostly.
It was
yeah.
created for that,
Yeah.
but now you got a lot of younger people playing it, and it's just not fun for me. Like, trust me, I just came back from Vermont. I was in Vermont giving a talk, and I met the guy who runs the #1 agency the agent for pickleball players, and I'm like, man, I just can't get away from this, man. It's just everywhere I go.
It's calling you.
It's
Nah,
it's a
not-
calling.
It's not.
I think it
even
is.
check this out. Even my sponsor right now makes pickleball paddles.
Yeah,
They're
but
a ping pong company.
you don't even play with paddles anymore.
Yeah, I play with my cell phone. Let's go.
So if you go on your TikTok, it's Wally
Yeah.
Green NYC
Yes, official.
official. You will see Wally playing. I don't think I've seen one on there where you're playing with a paddle.
Oh man, they're there, but it's either my little paddle you'll see or my cell phone. There is a couple playing with my paddle, but that's
And you were playing with a sword on one of them.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I checked out that. I looked
Yeah,
through a
yeah.
lot of those different things, and you got to one of the craziest catchphrases I've ever heard. You'll hear it on every single one of them. I'm not going to give it away. Those people watching on TikTok live right now, I'm sure they're well aware of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But just think, pickles are green, right?
Pickles are green.
Wally Green.
No,
You can't get away from the pickle.
You know, I mean, just think of the marketing.
It's not happening.
Now, before we go, they've recently made a few movies where they've integrated ping pong. Forrest Gump being one of them. One of my favorites, Balls of Fury.
I know about it very well.
Balls of Fury is one of because oh god, that's fun. That's a funny movie.
I know about it very well. When the Balls of Fury came out,
Randy Montana, was that what what was his name? It was Randy something.
I forgot. But that came out, so you figure our club's been open for 13 years. Then we did naked ping pong, another 3 years.
Naked,
so 16.
Naked ping pong.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So 16. So that came out like 15 years ago about
See, now
Balls of Fury.
that's like pickleball.
Yeah. That's how pickleball was started.
Yeah, listen.
Listen, I know you've played with a cell phone. You play with a little paddle. You never played with that and a sword. You never played with that before, did you?
No. Forget about. Listen, Forget about pickleball. I tell everybody, just play paddle tennis or pop tennis is the new name for it. That's much more fun sport.
But and it was a comedy. Obviously, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
But it was wrapped around this game that everybody knows that you have brought to the forefront, and now your clubs, these amazing ping pong clubs, people go in there, and it seems to be always crowded. I don't know if that's just the appearance, but it seems to be always packed and always crowded.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about those.
We used to have a party in our apartment called Naked Ping Pong. So that's where the Naked Ping Pong comes from. And all it was just a ping pong party. You know, it's just like bring your own beer, bring your own drinks, let's have fun, you know. And before we called it Naked, it was just a party. And then we had to come up with a website. We called it Naked Ping Pong, which means the state of mind of just enjoying life and doing what you want and not really caring. And we would have these parties, and the parties would get really big. We even had our DJ was, if you know who Dame Dash is,
Yeah,
was
I know
Dame
he's-
Dash's son, was our DJ.
Really?
Yeah, so we had a DJ, and you know, we made this website. Website's got so many hits. Then we started getting companies saying, "Hey, you know what? We would like to sponsor you guys." They wouldn't give us any money, but they say we'll give you all the product you want. So alcohol, beer, Red Bull,
Perfect.
right? And then we said, okay, well, you know, we can't sell alcohol in apartments; it's illegal, and you get kicked out. But what we can do is we can make something official, make a tournament, you know, around 7 o'clock, you know, and charge people $20 to get in, and all you can drink free.
Wow.
So it was a pregame spot.
Yeah.
People would come, and we used to have a line that used to go around the block. Like it was crazy. To one point, we had to hire a bouncer, but then the bouncer kind of killed the vibe because, you know, Naked Ping Pong was just about being free and having fun, and that's how we started this business.
Well, there's not I don't think there's a big gang population in the ping pong world.
Nah.
You know, the Jets and the Sharks playing against each
The
other.
Warriors.
Yeah. So do you understand something? Something I've noticed about you is there is just something around you where you dream it and you do it.
Yeah, it's So that's been pretty much my life. I think, I don't know, I think some people say manifestation. I'm really good at that. Like I just believe, like, if I want to do something and I'm really passionate about it, some way it's gonna happen.
You wish it into existence.
Yeah, like it may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but eventually it's gonna happen. And it always happens. I just happen to be at the right place at the right time, always.
And you have such a positive outlook on things now. I mean, I can't picture you being from the streets. I mean, you're just such a hell of a nice guy.
But Wally, you always were at the right place at the right time.
Yes, it's true.
You know, even when you were living with your mother and your stepfather, you had to be there. Like you needed to be there.
I think so.
Because if you weren't there and things didn't transpire the way, you would have never been living on the street, would have never met Alec, the Israeli guy. I mean, this chain of events. There's a reason for this chain of events, and now you're this superstar. Like this
is crazy.
Yeah. Do you ever think back and say, you know, how did I get from there to here? Sort of like recapping your life.
I look back at it and it's like, wow, that's crazy. I always say that's crazy.
I've been sitting here the whole time saying that's crazy.
And it's ping pong. I'm like, that's really crazy. But
you can change the world with anything.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Change the world one paddle at a time.
But something he said just before, I was just thinking about what was really funny. You know, when you talk to me now, like you kind of don't feel, you know, people don't feel like, oh yeah, this guy was gangbanging hard when he was young, because, you know, like my character's totally changed. You know, and sometimes I do get out of character when, like, you know,
when need be.
Yeah. But this is a funny story. This is actually a funny story. A couple of weeks ago, I was practicing paddle tennis, and you know, you see me walking with my paddles, and there was a kid, a young kid too, and I was pushing a city bike, and the city bike started making an alarm, and the kid just saw me and thought that I was the guy that he could pick on. I don't know why he would assume that, but you know, he started laughing, and so I went up to him. I was like, "Yo, you know, do you have a problem? Like what's wrong with it?" And he's like, "What? Do you know who I am?" And I said, "Bro," I said, "Listen, I'm not the dude, bro. I said, I would put you away right now. Like, I'm not even doing. He started like, what? You're no gangster. And when he said that, it just made me kind of laugh. And so, I knew this kid was young and I really didn't want to hurt him. So I said, listen, bro, take out your phone. This is really funny. He goes, why? I said, just take out your phone right now. Just take out your phone. He took out his phone. I said, my name is Wally Green. I said, Google Wally Green, former teen gangster, and let me see what you see. He Googled it. He was like, oh my God, wow, really? And I was like, bro, listen, don't judge people by the way they look. Because you never know you never know who's in front of you. In anything. It could be good, it could be bad. Never judge people, bro. I said, just be real, be authentic, be yourself, and life is good. And we shook hands and that was it. But it was kind of funny. Like those kind of situations can go a different way, right? Suppose I was still in that life, right? I would have hurt that kid really bad. Like really, for what? Because he wasn't going to do anything. He's a young kid who was high and, just being a kid. But that situation could have went really bad. And
that happened
it was funny.
That happened with Paul Castellano, the mob boss. So he was driving from his home and some kid, he almost hit the kid on the bike in his limousine, and the kid started yelling obscenities. The guys get out of the car, they throw the kid in the back of the limo, and he takes him to the house, and he goes, said exactly what you said. Exactly. It's like, do you know who I am now? Okay, never underestimate who you're talking to, who's in front of you. So that rings
crazy.
true. Yeah, imagine that kid's
I
asshole
would've
puckered
been.
up. Yeah. Wally,
man.
so what's next for you?
Man, now, I'm all about right now just inspiring kids, man. I really love inspiring these kids and motivating kids. Like that's like my new thing now. I want to talk to kids and just a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, I did something with this company called Andres Children, and they help kids who suffer like PTSD and trauma. And I got to hang out with these kids. A lot of these kids has been, family abuse, and just hanging out with them and talking to them, and seeing that they know that you've been through it and they're opening up to you. Like that was like one of the cool. I mean, it was tough. It was hard because it brings you, like you said, brings you back to that. Like doing that kind of stuff brings you back to that dark spot.
Yeah.
But you need to do it because these kids that they're suffering, like it was such a great time to be with these kids. And
You're doing what
I
Alec
love
did
doing
for
that.
you.
Yeah.
That's-
I
You're
was
paying
gonna
it
say,
forward.
you've become someone these kids aspire to want to be like. Could you think about that when you were 12 or 13 years old?
No, definitely not.
So where can we find you? Throw out some plugs because I know you got so many coals in the fire right now. It's crazy.
I have a lot of stuff going on. Instagram is a good place. People can follow me on Instagram. So that's Wally Green NYC, of course. But I got some stuff coming out. I got some, I had the New York Times article. Stephen Curry's podcast that I'm on just came out a little while ago. I have MSG Network stories coming out this month, I think. And Scholastic. I'm in Scholastic. Can you believe that?
So one of the things I got to recommend to you.
Cheated his whole way through school.
I know, right?
It's Scholastic.
One of the things I got to recommend to you is a Popple card. You know what the Popple card is because you got mine. Because that's how I communicate.
That's cool.
So if you go to Popple is one of our sponsors. So if you go to popple.com and put in TSP20, the Suffering Podcast 20, you get 20% discount. All these little links that you're giving out right now, you can give with a tap of a digital business card.
That's what you showed me.
Yeah, and the big thing is when they change, they get updated.
Yeah, that was really cool, actually.
Yeah,
I remember that. I was like, whoa, where'd you get this from?
Yeah, so go to popple.com and you can do that.
Yeah.
So that's a really big deal. Wally, I'm at a loss for words right now because you're pretty freaking amazing. And I don't mean to be on your,
on your pickle.
on your pickleball. But you've lived this life. You've gone from here to here. You've been to the top. You've been to the bottom. And that's why people listen to what you have to say right now is because you come from a place of understanding. If you were never in those places in the projects, you think your words would have that big of an impact?
No, for sure not.
Of course
100%. 100%.
So this life that you've lived and the suffering that you've gone through to where you are now, what do you think it's taught you?
Man, I mean, honestly, what it's really taught me was that, everyone's not out to get me. That's the first lesson I ever learned, was that, because that's what I thought. Everyone's not out to get me, and I'm responsible for my own behavior. And then after that, it's taught me that, that I need, not want, or I need to tell my story so that I can help other people who's been through it too. So, all the crazy stuff that I went through in my life, sometimes I think, yeah, man, you went through this, but now you can share with others who are going through this right now, and maybe hopefully change their lives before they get into the kind of things that I would have probably gotten to.
You seem like a person. So the first time I met you, I knew who you were, and I did not approach you. I kind of stayed away from you because I just knew who you were. I knew what you've done. I knew what you've been through. I've seen your story, and I've seen you on different shows and stuff. So I never came up to you. I was introduced to you through our friend Chris Kremitzos, and what I found is that person in front of me is not what I thought you were. It's not that I thought you were a bad guy. I just thought you're not going to talk to me. Who the hell am I? But you're the most approachable, nicest person, most giving person that I've met in a very, very long time. And my hat's off to you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
that.
easygoing, soft spoken, you're
Funny hair.
yeah, well, he's a Bengals fan.
Tell that to TikTok, because TikTok, they'll be like, I got my live banned like twice this in the last 3 weeks. One said hateful behavior. I was like, okay. And the other one was like, what was it? It was some other crazy thing. But I'm like, come on, man. I'm the least hateful person here, man. I joke around a lot,
No, and I actually love your shirt. Problem is me.
Yeah.
Solution is we.
Solution is we. That's true.
And we're going to leave it with that. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
I
You.
appreciate it.
Dude, it was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Suffering Podcast. And as always, we talk about what we learned. Don't become what you hate. Keep your humanity. Those little pauses in life are what's essential. It takes that one person to believe in you, but most importantly, small goals can equal big rewards.
Yes.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the Suffering Podcast, the suffering of a ping pong pro with our friend Wally Green. Follow Mike on Instagram at Mike_Failace. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson. And of course, follow the Suffering Podcast. Don't forget, you can always listen before you watch. All our episodes will air on Sunday mornings, and you can watch on YouTube on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that's going to do it for this episode. We'll see you on the next one.